Hello.
Listen carefully, they know where you are. Get out now!
Wait, who is this?
The morning started like any other. The sunlight slipped through the curtains and the house felt quiet, stable. I was in the kitchen, holding a warm cup, completely unaware that in just a few minutes, that entire sense of normalcy would collapse. The phone rang, a sharp sound cutting through the calm, and I felt my chest tighten even before I answered. The voice on the other end was professional, detached, and terrifyingly calm as it told me where I needed to go. The drive felt endless. Every red light was unbearable, every second stretching out as fear settled deeper into my bones. I kept telling myself there had to be a mistake, that ordinary lives don't just shatter this suddenly. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and panic. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed down those sterile hallways. I followed a nurse into a small, curtained-off space where everything I loved most in the world lay injured and fragile. Seeing that bruised face, something inside me broke that I didn't even know could break. I held a trembling hand and promised safety without having any idea how to deliver it. The explanation came out slowly, whispered words tangled with fear and guilt. Each sentence revealed a reality far darker than the one I thought I knew. I felt rage rise up, but it was cold, controlled, and focused, not explosive. Anger like that doesn't shout. It plans. Leaving the room felt wrong, but staying would have meant falling apart completely. I stepped out into the hallway and took a deep breath, like someone who had just learned how dangerous trust could be. My phone calls went unanswered, and each missed ring sharpened the truth forming in my mind. The silence on the other end was louder than any words. Returning home felt like walking into enemy territory disguised as comfort. The familiar walls suddenly seemed hostile, filled with secrets I had ignored for too long. I heard voices from another room, careless and confident, completely unaware they were being overheard. Every word they spoke peeled away another layer of illusion. The confrontation was brief and brutal, not because of shouting, but because of the cold, hard certainty of the facts. Denial collapsed quickly when those facts were spoken out loud. I realized then that betrayal isn't always emotional. Sometimes it's strategic. Love had been replaced with cold calculation. Leaving again felt necessary, but this time with purpose instead of panic. Protection became the priority, not explanations. Back at the hospital, reassurance came in measured tones and cautious optimism from the doctors. Relief mixed with a new determination, forming a resolve that was stronger than fear. The next steps formed quickly in my mind, guided by an instinct sharpened through experience. My circle of trust narrowed down to just a few names, old loyalties I could count on. Information started arriving piece by piece, and each new detail confirmed the staggering depth of the deception. What I uncovered went far beyond a personal betrayal. The scale of it all felt overwhelming, but retreat was no longer an option. Stopping now would mean accepting this loss as permanent. Safety came first, and that meant creating distance. Letting go, even just for a while, felt like another wound. The quiet that followed was deceptive, filled with preparation and resolve. Waiting became an active state, not a passive one. Old skills, long dormant but not forgotten, began to resurface. Preparation replaced panic. Every move had to be precise, measured, and unseen. Mistakes now would cost more than just my pride. The city itself felt different when I started viewing it as a battlefield instead of a home. Every corner held both possibility and threat. I started watching, and my observation revealed patterns hidden in plain sight. I saw how confidence bred carelessness in those who felt untouchable. Infiltration wasn't dramatic or exciting. It was just patient and methodical. Sometimes the most dangerous moments are the quietest ones. I learned that listening teaches you far more than confrontation ever could. The truth surfaced when people believed they were safe and unobserved. The realization of how deep the corruption actually ran was staggering. Power, I learned, doesn't collapse easily when it's protected by money and influence. Then one missing piece of information changed everything. It was the leverage I needed, the difference between survival and surrender. The risk increased with every step forward, but retreat meant absolute failure. Fear just became background noise. Allies started to appear in unexpected forms, people bound by a shared danger rather than any long-standing trust. Desperation has a way of forging honesty. The turning point arrived suddenly without any ceremony. It was about timing, not force. Chaos followed, not from violence, but from exposure. The truth detonates quietly before it explodes publicly. Then running became necessary. Survival depended on constant movement. The pain faded beneath a wave of adrenaline and purpose. Shelter felt temporary, but hope started to return cautiously. The evidence I held was small and unassuming, but it was heavy with consequence. Plans adjusted quickly, shaped by urgency and the new reality of the situation. I knew there would be no clean ending to this. Contact was made through layers of distance and encryption. Trust was conditional, but it was sufficient. The news broke in fragments, with confirmations arriving faster than disbelief could even form. Powerful figures began to fall, one after another, without warning. Arrests followed revelations like a line of dominoes. Their arrogance was replaced with silence. Freedom arrived quietly, without any celebration. The relief felt unfamiliar, but it was real. Returning home carried a weight that was heavier than when I left. Nothing felt the same, and I knew it never would. The reunion brought tears instead of words. Safety mattered more than explanations. But the hardest conversations still waited patiently, heavy with consequence. Honesty finally replaced denial. Accountability was uneven, painful, and incomplete. Forgiveness remained uncertain. The future appeared fragile, but at least it was possible. Trust would have to be rebuilt slowly, if it could be rebuilt at all. Healing began not with a grand resolution, but with simple stability. The routine of daily life started to regain its meaning. Questions lingered, unanswered and unavoidable. Some truths just resist simplicity. Strength returned gradually, not as dominance, but as resilience. The very definition of survival had changed. The past no longer dictated the present. Lessons replaced regret. Family became the focus, not pride. Protection outweighed ego. The road ahead remained uncertain, but it was no longer dark. The light was coming from within now, not from some illusion. The storm had passed, leaving damage, but also clarity. Rebuilding would be slow and imperfect. Standing together felt different now, grounded in reality. The love between us survived, altered but honest. The ending wasn't triumphant, but it was earned. Sometimes victory is simply being the one left, standing after everything has tried to break you. And in that quiet moment, holding what mattered most, I finally understood that survival itself was the greatest revenge. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.